All right, what's up guys? In this video, we're gonna pick up some calculus here. We're gonna do another integration practice video. It's gonna evaluate the integral x squared times sine of pi x dx. All right, so we have a product of functions here. So let's go ahead and apply integration by parts. So let me just remind you of what the formula is for that. So the integration by parts formula is the integral of u dv is equal to uv minus the integral of v du. So we need a u and a dv. I can also clearly tell by looking at this integral. Then I'm going to have to apply integration by parts twice, because once I apply it once, it's going to drop the power of the x down to 1. I'm going to have to do it again. So I'm going to let u equal x squared. That means the dv is everything else. So that's going to be sine of pi x dx. All right, so let's go through and get everything else. So we need du. That's going to be 2x dx, and v, that's the antiderivative of dv, so that's the antiderivative of sine of pi x dx. And hopefully you remember from calculus 1, simple substitution here, that's going to be negative 1 over pi cosine of pi x. So all you would need to do is a substitution for that. So when applying by parts, looks like we'll end up with negative 1 over pi x squared cosine of pi x. Then it's going to be minus the integral of v du. So let's see what we have. So we would essentially have two negatives. Since this is v, I can pull out a 2 over pi, and it's going to be positive as well. So this would be 2 over pi that'll be pulled out, and then I'd have x times cosine of pi x dx. And again, like I told you, we're going to have to apply by parts a second time. So don't get too freaked out or blown away if some integrals will require this from time to time. So let's not deviate too much from the substitutions at the beginning, or from our selections at the beginning, I should say. I'm going to let u equal x, then dv is everything else. So dv will be cosine of pi x dx. So then we need du, which is dx, and then v, which is the antiderivative of cosine of pi x dx. And again, that requires a simple substitution. That's 1 over pi sine of pi x. Okay. So anytime you're doing integration by parts twice, or really when you're doing any integral, you want to make sure you're being neat. And you definitely want to make sure you're being neat when you're going back and doing it twice. And I'm talking about by parts, because you're going to have to go back and get the get the first half of the left-hand side from the first by parts you did. So if you got stuff all over the place, it'll be hard to put everything back together. So I'll have 1 over pi x sine of pi x. Again, I'm doing the second by parts. I'm going to put everything together in a minute. Then I could have, it's going to be minus v du, so I'm going to pull out a 1 over pi. And that's just going to leave me with the antiderivative of sine of pi x dx. We already know what that is. So we'll have 1 over pi x times sine of pi x. Remember, this is negative 1 over pi. The antiderivative of sine of pi x dx is negative 1 over pi cosine of pi x dx, or cosine of pi x. So I would then just take the two, I take the negative 1 over pi and another negative 1 over pi, multiply it. And then what that's going to end up giving me is a positive 1 over pi squared. And then I'll have cosine of pi x. And then, yeah, that's what I'll have for the second one. Now, we got to go back and take all of this and connect it to this side here from the initial by parts. So it's going to look a little jumbled up, a little messy. So just be aware of that. So if we put everything together, we'll have negative 1 over pi x squared cosine of pi x. Remember, we still had the positive 2 over pi that was out there at the beginning. Then we got all of this. So this is going to be 1 over pi x times sine of pi x plus 1 over pi squared cosine of pi x plus c, but we got to do a little simplifying. And we should be able to finish up after simplifying. So to simplify, we just need to distribute that 2 over pi. So we'll distribute this here. And I'll go ahead and write the final answer while we're doing that, just to save kind of time here. All right, so this is what we were dealing with initially. And again, I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 2 over pi. So here's what your answer should be. Should be negative 1 over pi squared, or excuse me, negative 1 over pi times x squared cosine of pi x. I'm going to distribute in the 2 over pi, so that'll give me plus 2 over pi squared multiplied by x sine of pi x plus 2 over pi cubed cosine of pi x, and then you'll need a plus c tackled onto the end. So a long answer, but it is the answer nevertheless. And again, all I did was distribute in this 2 over pi, so hopefully we're able to see where everything came from. So that's your answer. So let me circle that for you. All right, so if you guys have any questions about how I got my answer, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. All right, I'll see you guys next time.